I never imagined I'd be writing about Joe Tate being so overwhelmed by love that he can't see the truth unfolding around him. Dawn Taylor recently began putting her scheme to ruin her partner into motion. She has discovered that Joe was responsible for blackmailing Victoria Sugden, sending Moira Dingle to prison, and cutting down Holly Barton's tree. Although Dawn confronted him over his actions, he continued to deny everything, and she has finally reached breaking point. Dawn, Moira and Cain Dingle decided that stripping Joe of everything he owns would be a much better punishment than killing him. Dawn complained to Joe about the difficulties of working with Belle Dingle and mentioned that she was interested in purchasing Take a Vow from her. Wanting to impress Dawn, Joe immediately offered to provide the money. Later, Dawn arrived at Wishingwell and informed a pleased Belle and Moira that the money from Joe would reach her account the following day. However, instead of using it to buy the business from Belle, she intended to save it for herself and her future. In tonight's episode, Dawn had an uncomfortable discussion with Billy Fletcher after Lucas casually announced that his mother was expecting Joe's child. Billy's main concern was how Lucas, Clemmy, and Evan would be treated once the baby arrived, believing Joe would prioritize his own heir above the other children. Dawn hinted slightly at her intentions toward Joe, but avoided revealing the entire plan to Billy because she feared he might react negatively and spoil everything. Still, their conversation inspired Dawn with another strategy. While speaking with Joe, Dawn questioned whether he might ignore her other children after the birth of their baby. Joe laughed it off at first, but also seemed surprised that she would even ask such a question when they were supposedly deeply in love. He reassured her verbally before doing what he always does when faced with a problem. Joe promised to create trust funds for Clemmy, Lucas, Evan, and the unborn baby to prove he would care for them all equally, ensuring their financial security for years to come. Dawn appeared thankful, but also astonished. Joe's strong feelings for Dawn, along with his willingness to casually transfer a huge amount of money for Take a Vow, clearly suggest that his love for her is affecting his judgment. Emmerdale has revealed that Dawn Fletcher is preparing a fresh scheme to take down Joe Tate. In tonight's episode, Dawn secretly celebrates with two allies as they continue putting their revenge plan into action. However, things may not turn out to be as simple as she expects. The episode shows Dawn struggling with doubts about whether deceiving Joe is truly the right decision. After sharing an emotional conversation with Moira, though, the plan quickly returns to full speed. Dawn's uncertainty begins when she notices how genuinely happy Joe is about the news that they are expecting a child together. Seeing a kinder and more caring side of him makes her briefly imagine the possibility of building a future with him after all. While visiting Wishingwell Cottage to talk with Moira, Dawn nervously explains that Joe has already told the children about the pregnancy and that they are now excitedly imagining life together as one big family at home farm. She admits the children have become very close to him and insists that he behaves differently around them, even if others refuse to believe it. Later on, Dawn appears to turn against the Dingles when she complains to Joe about Belle causing problems for her at Take a Vow. Still holding resentment toward the family, Joe quickly offers Dawn the money she would need to buy Belle out of the business, proudly claiming it would finally put Belle in her place. Afterwards, Dawn updates Moira and Belle, making it obvious that Joe has walked directly into their trap. Dawn reveals that they tempted him perfectly and that he responded exactly as they expected. She also confirms that the money will arrive in her account the following day and admits she could not have succeeded without their help. Although Moira and Belle are shocked by how smoothly the plan is working so far, there are hints that complications could still arise later on. Emmerdale has revealed a major turning point in the downfall of Joe Tate, as Dawn Taylor officially begins carrying out her revenge scheme. The following storyline contains spoilers from the episode broadcast dated May 6th, which is already available on ITVX and YouTube ahead of its ITV1 airing. Dawn has now realized that Joe has spent months deceiving her. Her suspicions first grew when she discovered footage showing Victoria Sugden attempting to hide John Sugden's crime. Although Joe managed to mislead Dawn and delay her suspicions for a while, it marked the start of his situation slowly collapsing around him. After Moira Dingle was released from prison, Dawn soon learned that Joe had played a role in framing her. She also found out from Moira that Joe was responsible for cutting down Holly Barton's memorial tree. When the tree was destroyed, Dawn directly questioned Joe about his involvement, but he denied any responsibility. At the time, she warned him that if she ever discovered he had lied about it, their relationship would be over. Now fully aware of his constant dishonesty, Dawn has decided to make him pay. After discussing the situation with Moira and Cain Dingle, Dawn questioned what kind of revenge would hurt Joe the most. Cain immediately suggested killing him, but Moira proposed a more satisfying punishment instead. She argued that stripping Joe of everything he owns and leaving him completely ruined would be far worse than death itself. Dawn, who is now expecting Joe's baby, was clearly pleased by the thought of seeing him lose everything. Since then, Dawn has been carefully pretending that everything is normal at Home Farm, allowing Joe to believe their relationship remains strong. She nearly exposed her true feelings recently when her disgust toward him became difficult to hide, but she quickly blamed her behavior on morning sickness. Hearing Joe repeatedly express hatred toward the Dingles left Dawn feeling increasingly uncomfortable during today's episode. Realizing she was struggling emotionally, she visited Moira to vent her frustrations about her partner. Moira encouraged Dawn to allow others to help her with the plan, and she agreed. Soon afterwards, they launched another stage of their scheme. Back at Home Farm, Joe interrupted an argument between Dawn and Belle Dingle about problems involving Take a Vow. After Belle stepped away to answer a call, Dawn complained about her business partner and admitted she wished she could simply buy the company to avoid dealing with her anymore. Wanting to impress Dawn, Joe immediately offered to purchase Take a Vow for her. Although Dawn appeared surprised by the offer, she did not reject it. Later, Dawn met with Belle and Moira at Wishing Well and happily informed them that Joe's money would arrive in her bank account the next day, supposedly for the business purchase. The three women laughed together at how easily they had managed to gain access to a large amount of Joe's fortune. The storyline strongly suggests that Joe Tate's downfall has officially begun, and Dawn's latest actions prove she is determined to make her revenge a complete success. The question now is what step she will take next. Emmerdale viewers are convinced that a former resident of the Dales could soon return to the ITV soap as part of Dawn Taylor's possible exit storyline. Dawn Taylor, played by Olivia Bromley, made her debut on the long-running drama in 2018 and quickly became involved in several dramatic storylines within the village. Over the years, Dawn has faced numerous struggles, including battling drug addiction and becoming involved in sex work, making her journey in the Dales far from peaceful. Last year, she shocked fans after beginning an affair with Joe Tate. ITV airs the soap from Monday to Friday at 8 p.m. on ITV1 and ITVX.